Okay, today we're going to be looking at the Pioneer SK353L boombox. I was having trouble recording on the cassette, but we're going to find out what's inside and see if I can rectify that. You want to take out all the screws. There's little arrows by the holes. These are the screws you want to remove. And take off the battery cover. There's one screw inside the battery cover. Remove that. To remove the cassette door, we open it and squeeze inside, and you should see part of the cassette door. There's kind of two arms there. Push them in and out it comes. To put it back on, you have to make sure it's pushed right down at the bottom there. Push straight in. It might click a little, and just make sure that's seated in. Push those in again and the door's in. Also, there is one screw to remove just here, so take that out as well, and then you'll be able to pull the back off. It really is that easy. Okay, so I laid the machine on its back and removed the front cover. There are about 4 screws holding the cassette mechanism in. They aren't hard to spot. Unscrew those and ease out the mechanism. Now, I'm just doing a visual inspection. Quite often you will find a fault with a visual inspection. Now, what I'm looking at here is the record actuating switch. This is operated by a lever on the cassette mechanism and sets to record mode. I've got some contact cleaner here, so I'm just spraying that in where I think it might penetrate. Just to remove the PCB, remove all the screws pretty much where the white dots are. The power supply also has a couple of screws. Remove that and remove the clip holding on the main socket. Okay. I'm having another visual inspection here, and I think I've spotted a loose component or two. In fact, it's a wire round resistor seems a little bit loose. So yes, we'll flip that over now. I've taken the board out, flipped it over, and you can see there's a solder joint, which isn't as it should be. There was also something like some kind of regulator that also had a couple of legs where the solder had failed. So I soldered those back up and we're good to go, and now it's just a case of putting back the PCB. A little jiggle around. It does go quite easy. And where the white circles are on the board, we'll place the screws. And there are a couple of screws there for the PCB and the auxiliary input. There's a headphone socket there too. Now there's the clip for the mains input. That's to go on just there. One thing I didn't point out, don't remove the knob knobs until you've taken the back off, and they're far easier to poke out from inside the machine. They just need a little lever on the shafts that they're on with a screwdriver. It saves scratching them or trying to lever them off externally. Now, to remove the mechanism, I didn't point out that there's two sockets there. They just pull out. They haven't got any clips on them, so they will just pull out carefully. And obviously, to reassemble, just put them back in. They will only go one way. Some of the female sockets have been blanked over, so they will only go in one way. It might be easier to remove the mechanism if the play and record button are depressed, but you'll need to press down the little black lever for that detects a blank or pre-recorded cassette to enable the record button to be depressed. That will make it easier to bring the mechanism out. Also, once the mechanism's back in, press the stop button. This will help the lever that actuates the record switch that I was talking about earlier. That will help it to seat better. So press that stop button before you screw the mechanism back in. Now, before I reassembled this completely, I tried the tape that I was using. I still couldn't get it to record, so I thought it would be time to demagnetize the heads. I don't have a demagnetizer. I've seen one shaky video on YouTube where someone was using an AC to AC adapter. So that's not commonly used. It's usually AC to DC. I happen to have a 12-volt one for a synthesizer, and also you would need a solenoid, something perhaps from a 70s telephone, which I've got a couple of the old solenoids. So we're going to use this adapter and one of the solenoids I've kept. I'm just going to hook these up with a couple of crocodile clips. When you demag your heads, I have the machine unplugged, switched off, and just moving slowly with the demagnetizer. One of the core ends there, I have put a bit of heat shrink on. We don't want that metal to metal contact coming in with the head. I can assure you this works. I've used it on another tape head which was giving quite muddy playback, and you can also put a screw up against the solenoid core and you can feel it vibrate at I don't know, it's 50 or 60 hertz, the mains AC. Okay, so as it happened, it wasn't. I don't know why the machine worked before with that resistor loose and the other component too. However, it wasn't the recording mechanism, I think, that was faulty. It was the tape I was using. I put in another tape and it was fine. I was using an old ZX Spectrum tape. I was trying to record a game onto that. I'd obviously lost any ability to record, so at least we've had a look inside the boombox and you guys have seen it. Okay, so I think everything's working. Let's have a look at the functions. We have FM.
Fast, efficient. To Cinema Paradiso. Now,
quick word to the wise. Can I point you towards a particularly brilliant programme a little later here on Classic FM? Catherine Bott will be here from 9 with her wonderfully encyclopedic programme called...
There's low wave.
If he hadn't, this is a drama programme after all. Steve Ray says the interest in...
Medium wave.
Giving him an out by saying, right, you mark that space and go and thing out. But he can't do what he's doing, though. No, definitely.
And short wave. I don't think we'll get anything there. Let's have a listen to the tape. At the side there is that's an auxiliary input, so you can plug in your phone or other device. It shares the input with the FM, so we'll put that to FM and see if this will work. It should do.
When you pass through the fire, you pass through humble, you pass through a maze of self-doubt. When you pass through humble, the lights can blind you. Some people never figured that out. You pass through arrogance, you pass through...
We'll have a balance which is not entirely useful. The tone has some effect. It's not a great equalizer. Certainly taking off some of the high end there.
For luck to save you, pass through the fire to the light. Pass through the fire to the light. Pass through the fire to the light.
Record mute and Dolby, which I never use.
Foot tapping, hip jingling, head bopping, brilliant music.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hope this video is of help to anyone who's having trouble with an old boombox. I may see you next time. Thank you for watching.